What's up, everybody? Patrick from WP Builder Helper, and today we have a video on web hosting, one of the most boring things out there, but one of the most things that people have more opinions on than anything else in the world. So I wrote an article and I'll link it down below. It might not be out yet because I wasn't sure if I was going to finish it or not, but I'll link it down below just so you have access to it. But what the article was about was it was about web hosting. And I realized as I was defining web hosting and talking about web hosting that a lot of people have questions about it. They don't know how to find a good web host. You may be brand new. You may not know what to look for. So I decided rather than taking and giving you a whole bunch of recommendations of things that you're not going to want to buy because it's just coming from someone on the internet, I would give you like a set of standards that you should follow, and those are what you look for when you go and buy a web host. And it's really simple. So I'm going to take you through it. It's going to be a really short video. I hope that you'll like and subscribe to this video, and we're going to talk right after this. All right, let's get started. Alright guys, so here we are again. Here's that post that I was talking about what is a web host. So I just kind of wanted to go over it with you about, what this is about. I started writing this post and it does have some affiliate things in it, so don't be surprised because that's how it works. But that wasn't the point. That's not why I gave the recommendations I gave. The reason why I gave the recommendations that I gave is because when you go through like a Facebook groups or you go through something like that, you'll quickly see that there are a number of people out there who have very specific things that they hate about certain hosts and very specific things that they like about certain hosts. And I can't think of a better host to start it with than something like a Bluehost, where you're constantly, this host is constantly getting berated. They don't like Bluehost. They have problems with it. Some people think that they're garbage. There's a bunch of different things. But what it comes down to is, where are you in your web design process? Are you at the very start of your web design process? Are you in the middle of it? Are you a site? Are you a Walmart or an Amazon that has high traffic? I doubt very seriously that there's any Amazons or any Walmarts that are hosting their websites with Bluehost. That's just not going to happen. Similar, you have SiteGround, which is another web host that everyone loves. They love the web hosting in SiteGround. SiteGround's one of those hosts that you can kind of grow with, but guess what? When you take and you look at SiteGround's prices, you notice pretty quickly that they have what's called sticker shock in most cases. The first year is super cheap. They almost do it at a cutthroat price, because as you can see, an introductory price here is $3.95 and then shoots up to a regular $11.95 a month. For here, the Grow Big, which if you're doing more than one website, obviously you're going to need unlimited websites. You have almost $20 a month. That's a lot of money to some people. That's hard. They can't shell out $300. And that sounds terrible to say, because if you're growing a business, you need to put the money behind whatever you're doing. And hosting is one of those areas where I recommend that you do not skimp on, ever. But when you're starting out, does it make sense to go with SiteGround when you have Bluehost? And Bluehost in most standards is going to give you a cheaper price. So do you build your website on Bluehost and then move to SiteGround? Some people might say no. I would say yeah, because there's plenty of time where when you build a website for the first time, or you're just getting it up and running, you're not going to have a large number of visitors. You're not going to have a large number of traffic. You're not going to have anything that you need a host that's that important, that's that, out there. You're not getting that saturation of people. But when you need that, you need to move to a better host. And I think these are two of the best examples of somebody that are so polarized. And for instance, I know a lot of people are not very, there are some people that I've seen, and I for one, I don't understand it, but there are some people that love GoDaddy. They love GoDaddy. It's one of their favorite hosts that's out there. And I can't stand GoDaddy. I think they upsell you all the time. They charge you for things that you probably shouldn't be charged for. I have been charged by GoDaddy, accidentally, quote unquote. But there's all kinds of things that GoDaddy does that's primarily shady to me. And that's just my personal opinion. There are other people out there that have loved GoDaddy and they'll use GoDaddy and they think that they're fine. Once again, do I see you hosting a Walmart or an Amazon type website off of this? No. There's no way. You're never going to host that type of site from this. But then again, you may never host that type of site from any of these guys either. It just depends on what you need. So for me, when you're looking for a host, the first thing that you want to do is you want to make a set of things that you need. Like, what are you looking for? Do you need unlimited space? Do you need something like that? What are you looking for? So what is it that your business needs above all else? And the easiest way to answer that is to go and look at all the hosts. And you make like almost like a spreadsheet. That's why I wouldn't do a chart on this. There's plenty of websites out there that take and they analyze this, and a lot of them get paid for their traffic. This is one of them, but I like Hosting Facts. And one of the reasons why I like Hosting Facts is if you actually go to their review process, you'll see that it has a very, very useful feature in it where they explain the process that they go through. And this is really, really simple. There's nothing complicated about this. All they're doing is they're going out and they're buying space on some of these web hosts, and they go buy the space, and then they sit a website there and they use Pingdom to take and monitor its traffic, its speed, its uptime, all of the metrics that are not vanity metrics, all of the things that you would want to know about. And those are the type of things that I think are really important to most people. They don't realize that they get, you see, ooh, free domain name, free SSL. Well, that's great. But guess what? These two things in most websites, that's all included. Like, that's become the standard now. If you don't have a free SSL from Let's Encrypt, then what the hell? I mean, there's plenty of hosts. They should be given this, but they're not giving it. It doesn't make any sense. If you don't have a free domain name, I mean, every host gives you a free domain name. I barely ever use that. If you don't have one-click WordPress install, I mean, seriously? And then 24/7 support. You should have 24/7 support. I'm paying you a fee to host my website. If it goes down, I want to know that you've got my back. While this is going on, you'll notice that some people in their plans, so let's go to the get started. Let's go to their hosting plans. They're shared. All right, we're back. Sorry, my internet started creeping out for whatever reason, and we're back now. But you'll notice that with Bluehost, they give you unlimited websites, unlimited SSD storage, unmetered traffic, unlimited domains, unlimited park domains, unlimited subdomains, and people go, wow, all of that for $5.99 a month? And then you come over here and you're like, wow, I can only get 25,000 visits, and I can only get 20 gigs of web space. And I get unlimited websites, but I only get 20 gigs and I only get 25. Well, you got to understand. First off, all of these unlimited hosts, they're not going to admit that you are actually limited in some ways. These servers have limitations on them, just like anything else in the world. It's not something that you can really change. It's just the way that web hosts work. They have unlimited hosting, and it works when it works. But if you're on a web server with a large number of sites that have high traffic, there's a good chance you're going to suffer some very, very big performance things. And so what they're doing is they're just being honest. They're saying, hey, look, you can get about 25,000 visitors a month, and we're only going to give you this amount of web space. If you need more, upgrade. I mean, that's what it's there for. It's not there for you to take and just sit there and dump all of your files onto. That's not what a web host is for. What a web host is for is to host your website and to actually do a good job of giving you performance. So if we go to hosting facts, you'll notice that they go over this. They actually have an area. Let me see if I can find it really quick. It might be here. No, that's not it. There is an area that you can go to that they have. Maybe it's domain. No, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Stats Pingdom. So if you come to this Stats Pingdom, what this is this is their account, and they're just sharing this publicly, which I think is very cool. It's very honest. It's one of the reasons why I like this website is because they're being very transparent about what they're doing, what their process is, and how it works. Okay, sorry about that. So once again, internet went out. Something funky's going on. But if you actually go here, you'll see all of the different sites that they're hosting, and it gives you the address that they're hosting. And if you kind of click on it, you can go back and you can look through the history of what's happened with this site over time. So you'll see some of these hosts have gone down. Like, for instance, A2. A2 is a hosting account that I generally recommend people go to when they want speed above all else. You can kind of see here that A2 has got a very, very fast response time. That's the last 7 days. That's really good for a cheap host of their type. However, once again, this doesn't paint the whole story. So yes, it's got a very, very fast response time. Its uptime is still not the greatest. And if we take and we go back and we look at the history, you'll notice that over time, there are some times when it's just a bit slower than others. So in this case, it had 451, but in general, it's a pretty fast host. It's got some uptime problems, which once again, you can see here. But when you go into this type of stuff, you can look at it and you can say, okay, what matters to my website more than anything? Well, the lifeblood of a website is uptime and speed. If you have a host like, let's take Bluehost for a fact. See, Bluehost has an average response time of 400 milliseconds. It doesn't seem like very much, but that type of difference from 200 to 400 can be everything you need. Can be everything you need when you're running into a host. So I can understand how, like, let's look at Fat Cow. Fat Cow is one of the ones that we can see has a bunch of problems. I don't want to look at DigitalOcean. I want to see what's going on with Fat Cow. But you can see their uptime has dropped. And look at this response time. Almost a full, like, 1,000 milliseconds, which is just nuts. That is terrible speed. Terrible speed. And that's what they average. They're just not very good when it comes to stuff like that. And if you have a host that's like that, that's going to take and that's going to lead you to problems. I'm sorry. There's no way to sugarcoat that. If you're getting that kind of speed, that's the difference. When people are talking about, I want a fast host, I want somebody that connects fast, that's the type of thing. So let's go back and let's do a test here, just using these type of statistics. And let's go back and let's look at a higher end host. So I just mentioned SiteGround, right? Now, remembering what we were remembering before about the speeds, let's find SiteGround in here. Okay, I'm on the wrong page. Let's go to page 2. And we're going to compare Bluehost to SiteGround and everything like that. And I think you're going to find that there's a bigger picture that's painted when you look at the overall of everything. Now, granted, these are two interesting facts, but so SiteGround's got an uptime that's not perfect. It's definitely lower than it should be. But if you look at it, their response time is 670. That's much higher than Bluehost. Now, before you say anything, I get it. SiteGround has way better support than Bluehost. I get it. But to some people that are web designers or maybe they have that background, they're not worried about support as much. You're paying for something that you don't necessarily need. Maybe you know how to migrate a site to another host. And so, once again, you're paying for something you don't really need. That's where I get into the argument of, you know, some people will say, oh, you're just recommending Bluehost because they give higher affiliate fees or whatever. No. I'm recommending them because they're a great starter company. They're a great company to take and kind of grow with until your business starts getting that rock rolling down the hill. And then they're a great company to move away from. it's just, it works out for you in the end. It's a better, you're going to spend less money than you would here. If you were in one of these tiers, you're spending $34 a month at the second year. That is a giant sticker shock to their feature, which gives you $23 a month. And you get all of this. You get dedicated IP, you get all of it. So what I'm saying is, you get a lot more for your money from Bluehost. And I understand that there's some concerns when it comes to support. There's some concerns when it comes to things. But the easiest way, nobody can tell you which host you should pick. I don't believe these people should tell you. I don't believe I should tell you. I don't believe anybody should tell you. I think that what you should do is you should sit down with a web designer or somebody that has knowledge of this, and you should say, hey, look, I want to bang out a couple of hosts and get some ideas of which host you would recommend, the pros and cons of them, and then go from there. And I think that you can take those type of tests, and you can go at it and you can look at it objectively and say, what am I giving up to go with a Bluehost? What am I giving up if I go with a SiteGround? And what am I giving up if I go with like a GoDaddy? And you can look through all those things, and you can look at both the positives and the negatives and weigh them and say, okay, this is where I want to go, because right now this website gets zero traffic. I'm not going to need a lot of the support because it's a brand new website, so it's wasted. And then once I'm ready to go, maybe in year 2, I jump on one of these packages and I bring it over to SiteGround, which is a site that has better hosting or something like that. I think that's how you base it, and that's how you go. You don't let people tell you. You don't let a review site tell you. You don't let me tell you. You just go with what you feel is your gut thing. Now, with that said, people are going to have recommendations. But recommendations, if you go on any Facebook group and you ask, which web host should I go with? It's going to be undeniably polarizing, because it goes from one host to another host to another. They'll have people that'll fight, and they'll say, well, I've used GoDaddy for years and I've never had any problems. Well, I've used Bluehost for a year and I've never had any problems. Well, really? What about when you got malware? Well, when I got malware, my site got shut down, so I hate Bluehost. And then I moved to GoDaddy. Well, what about that time that GoDaddy decided to suspend your site because you were selling guns on it or something like that? Well, yeah, and at that point, then I moved to SiteGround. I mean, you got to take and you got to know what you're looking for before you go into it. So that's what I would say. That's my tip. Start off with the list. What's the top things that you need? Do you need more web space? Are you going to be doing video content? I mean, those type of things matter. And then analyze that and pick a host that's right for you, and don't let anyone tell you anything about it. I hope you've liked this video. If you guys have any comments about this or anything like that, go ahead and leave them below and let me know down below, who is your host? Who do you like using? Go ahead and put that down below, and I will see you guys next time.